Rich CEO pretends to sleep to test the shy maid. Then he freezes when seeing what she does. The storm outside raged like it had a personal grudge against the world. Inside the mansion, the grand clock struck midnight. Ethan Cole, the youngest billionaire CEO in the city, sat silently in his dimly lit office, staring at the fire flickering in the marble fireplace. To the world, he was untouchable, brilliant, ruthless, and impossibly rich. But behind that polished exterior was a man who hadn't trusted anyone in years. Everyone wanted something from him, his money, his name, his power. Until she came along. Her name was Lila, the new maid. She was quiet, shy, and often kept her eyes down as she worked. She never tried to talk to him or impress him like the others did. There was something almost different about her. She was careful, kind, and surprisingly graceful for someone who looked so nervous all the time. Ethan found himself observing her more than he intended. She was too humble, too genuine. And he didn't believe in genuine anymore, so one evening, Ethan decided to test her. He'd heard enough stories of staff stealing or gossiping behind his back. So, pretending to be asleep on the couch in his study, he left his expensive gold watch on the table. A temptation most couldn't ignore. He wanted to see if Lila was like everyone else. When Lila entered the room quietly to tidy up, she froze seeing him there. Her breath caught. She hesitated, unsure if she should leave or clean around him. Then, she noticed the gold watch glimmering under the soft light. For a long moment, she just stared at it. Ethan, with his eyes half closed, watched from beneath his lashes, waiting. But what she did next made his heart stop. Instead of taking the watch, Lila gently picked it up with both hands and polished it with the edge of her apron. Then, with delicate care, she placed it back exactly where it was and softly whispered, "You're so tired, sir. You work too much." Her voice was full of something Ethan hadn't heard in years. Kindness. She noticed the blanket folded on the nearby chair, quietly draped it over him, and turned to leave. Ethan opened his eyes, frozen. Not from fear, but from something he hadn't felt in a long time. Guilt, shame, and a deep, unfamiliar warmth. The next morning, when Lila came in, Ethan called her name. She looked startled, as if afraid she'd done something wrong. He gestured for her to sit, though she clearly didn't want to. "Tell me," he asked softly, "why didn't you take it?" Her eyes widened. "Take what, sir?" He gave a faint smile. "The watch. You saw it." Lila's face turned red. She fidgeted with her hands. "Because it's yours, sir. And because I didn't come here for money. I just needed a chance to work. My mother's in the hospital. I can't afford to lose this job." That answer hit him like a brick. She didn't even know she had been tested, and she had passed in a way that humbled him completely. Over the following days, Ethan began to see her differently. He started noticing how Lila smiled faintly when she arranged flowers in the hall, how she quietly skipped lunch to save money for her mother's medicine, and how she always greeted every other maid with a soft, encouraging word. For the first time, Ethan found himself wanting to help someone. Not out of charity, but because she reminded him of the goodness he had lost. One day, when Lila's mother's condition worsened, she tried to resign, afraid she couldn't keep up with both the job and hospital visits. Ethan wouldn't let her. He personally arranged her mother's treatment through his company's medical partners, paying every expense anonymously. When Lila found out, she broke down crying in front of him. "Why would you do that for me, sir?" He looked at her with an expression that surprised even himself. "Because someone once saved me when I didn't deserve it. And I almost forgot what that felt like. Until you reminded me." Months passed. Her mother recovered. Lila stayed on, but things changed. She wasn't just the maid anymore. Ethan trusted her. Something he hadn't done with anyone in years. She became his assistant, helping him manage charity projects and small foundations he'd ignored before. And slowly, her kindness began to thaw the walls around his heart. The final scene shows Ethan standing by the same fireplace months later. The storm had passed, but something else had changed too. Lila entered with 2 cups of tea and set one beside him. He looked at her, smiling faintly. You know, that night you put that blanket over me, you didn't just cover me from the cold. You saved me from becoming someone I never wanted to be. Lila blushed, lowering her eyes. Sometimes, people just need a little warmth to remember who they are, sir. He chuckled softly. Then maybe it's time you stop calling me sir. She looked up, smiling shyly, and for the first time in years, Ethan Cole, the once cold billionaire, smiled like a man who had finally found peace. Moral of the story: trust and kindness can't be bought. They're earned through small, selfless acts. Sometimes, the people who appear the least powerful can remind us of the greatest strength of all, humanity.